Parable of the tenants. Using parables, Jesus went on to say, a man planted a vineyard, put a fence around it, dug a hole for the wine press, and built a watchtower. Then he leased the vineyard to tenants and went abroad. In due time, he sent a servant to receive from the tenants the fruit of the vineyard. But they seized the servant, struck him, and sent him back empty-handed. Again, the man sent another servant. They also struck him and treated him shamefully. He sent another, and they killed him. In the same way, they treated many others. Some they beat up, and others they killed. One was still left, his beloved son, and so, last of all, he sent him to the tenants, for he said, they will respect my son. But those tenants said to one another, this is the one who is to inherit the vineyard. Let's kill him, and the property will be ours. So they seized him and threw him out of the vineyard. Now, what will the owner of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy those tenants and give the vineyard to others. And Jesus added, have you not read this text of the Scriptures? The stone which the builders rejected become the keystone. This is the Lord's doing, and we marvel at it. They wanted to arrest him, for they realized that Jesus meant this parable for them. But they were afraid of the crowd, so they left him and went away. Biblical lesson. The chosen ones of God. In this comparison, the vine represents the kingdom of God. The Jews were God's people, and they came to consider that their own interests were those of God. He had to help them against others. They had confidence that they would be saved and were not concerned about the fate of others who did not recognize God. God entrusted His kingdom to them. In other words, He guided them throughout the long span of their history so that they would be an example to others. They were to communicate their experience to others so that all would develop justice, a spirit of responsibility, a sense of community. These were the fruit God wanted to harvest. God sent prophets to remind them of their debt. They were scarcely heard. Finally, the only Son of God, become human, appears, and the same thing will happen. He will be thrown out of the vineyard. In other words, rejected by His own people, which is why the kingdom of God will be given to others, to those believers converted from other nations and gathered in the church of Christ. Here ends the parable. It could equally be applied to the church today if it becomes a religion of one social class or similar to other religions, or if we do not find in the church more obedience to God, more commitment to values that will save the world. What would happen to Christian groups and their leaders if they began to feel they were the owners of the kingdom and its promises?